Hey guys, I was gonna live draw and also show some of my art. I'm going to I'm gonna try to sign up to do a con in a couple of weeks or months, and I'm just kind of previewing the stuff that I'm gonna bring for original art wise. Of course, we're gonna have our Turbo comic, but still not done with the first issue or the Doom Mags compilation. This is a poster I just for a gig I just had, and if anybody doesn't know, I'm in a band for more than 20 years, the Von Ghouls. That's my band right there. And we just played at Otto Shrunken Head last Friday. It was a great time. Our new best friends, the Tobra Lions. They're a great garage punk band from Brooklyn. Female drummer and two guys, the cool guys, they real good guitars and stuff. And the Psychedelic Cats are our old buddies. They closed out and they had everybody singing and a dancing and hooping and a hollering at Otto's Shrunken Head. It was a great night. We're gonna try to book another gig there. Um, so this is a folder I put together, and it's some wares that are going into production, or these are original art pieces, and I'm gonna just jump in and draw on some of these, or maybe color on some of these. Um, this is gonna be the cover of the Casualties, and I guess I should cut all this stuff away. I can grab a scissor and do that, but there's a lot of these like notes that I have to transcribe, stuff you're thinking about when you're creating the cover for the Casualties #1, Esoterra, Hellclaw, the Fire Witch, Turbo Pit Fighter, Chromita. These three are the Casualties. Turbo is the flagship character. This is the original art to the well, let me move on from that. So coming soon, Doom Magazine's #1. This is Doom Magazine #1. I'm gonna put the price here, $5, and here we're gonna put um also in this issue, The Secret Chronicles of the Duke. We're just gonna use computer typesetting for that, and, I'm gonna dress up all of these. I'm gonna color this whole thing in Photoshop, and I'm going to, add the effects and everything with the colors to bring out the names of everybody. But the Casualties, I'm wondering, I think I'm gonna go with a light blue, and a red outline, dark red outline, light blue matches their outfits. And I'm thinking light blue on the inside, red on the outside, but then the red goes back to light blue here. So I was actually thinking about a fade between light blue and red going up and down her arms like thermometers. This is Esoterra, the Mystic Destroyer. She's actually not a practitioner of magic. She's actually a scientist and a futurist. And this is the original art I'm selling to raise funds for the comic. So if you want to buy a print of the original art, they're as cheap as like $5. Where are they? Did I bring them up soon? Oh yeah, they're right here. And these are beautiful. These came out beautiful. This is just the last gig, so I'm gonna also be putting out a book of all my concert poster designs, and I should have done it a long time ago, but Kurt and Matt and the guys that we talked to in the comic biz said, "Why not just put it out? They're all done already. Just scan them and put them out." I have so many of these. So this is just the latest gig, and I'm selling the original art. I have all the original art, mostly for all the other ones too. I'll show you another example of the poster designs. This was the last gig, and we opened up for Patty Rothberg. Actually, I think we went on after Patty Rothberg and her new band Graveyards, and that was at Pete's Candy Store in Williamsburg. It's a cool little place to play. There was a lot of other musicians there. Um, Otto Shrunken Head is on 14th Street in New York City, And that it was amazing. There was parking everywhere because it was a free frigid night last Friday, and it's still like 0 degrees today. But yeah, these prints I sell, and if anybody's listening, if you do shows and you table and stuff, you could buy these for 5 and sell them for 10. People have been known to do that if you want to double up. Anyway, this is kind of also an audition, if anybody sees this, for original art that I'm going to be selling at tables. So if you see anything you like, you can literally make me an offer right in the comments or on Twitter, Doom Mags. On Twitter, Doom Mags. I'll explain what these things are. So this is a concept sketch. All right, so this was the original art for that poster. It's not that big, the original art. It's like maybe this is literally on comic paper. So this is probably like 10 by 14 and change, right? So this is a sketch for Shankar Vaisha. All this mad information about her. Transfer of Q exchange from waves to particles and back. The binary is influenced by the third star, the eye in the sky. Multi-state quantum particles, the eye is both open and closed. The arms are in a multi-position. The ancients knew the possibility of awareness and non-awareness. It makes the difference, mirroring the mind, the conceptual, the body, physical. All these little like charts and stuff. So this all means something to the story, and this is Charvel Vaisha, a pivotal character in the early timeline of the end of the world timeline, where Turbo runs free in 2240s. This is a sketch. So somebody on the pod last Sunday said they might be interested in penciling. I think it was oh man, I get the Substack notifications. Belly of the Bonfire. So the guy, I forget his name, terrible with names, but the Belly of the Bonfire on Substack. He follows me, I follow him, and he puts out a regular cartoon strip like on on Substack, and his art is great. So hopefully he'll be into it. This is a story about her, Wee Lu, and she's kind of like a kung fu chick. And, I always loved Shang-Chi comics growing up, so I was very influenced by that. She's got a little spike here that could come out that juts out. It's just like a little machine spike of the future that just juts out of your wristband. These are some, like, minions that are gonna be on the attack from this guy, and his name is Moose, Musalaki. And he's an alt boy mercenary for the Dehubertons that goes to try to clear the crowd when they're doing this gigantic psychotropic festival and they project a gigantic octopus into the sky, holographic octopus. This is her grandmother. This is Reen Paw, and she has a farm that she's going to defend. Now, believe it or not, this is a 6-pager, but it could very easily expand. And this is some detailed pencils. I never took a good scan of this. Selling all this, but this is going to appear as an illustration that's going to go with some text. And you know what? I'm going to get the scissors because I don't want to touch this stuff more than once. We had a saying in a graphic art studio I used to work at: only touch it once. So that means try to get as far as you can with production, um, before you're sorting through all kinds of other stuff. So this is kind of an exciting montage. Could be inked, could be colored. I even started to use some ballpoint here on the eyes, make it kind of like she's getting a beacon from her molecular changes. This is the pencils for Turbo Teaser #1, the back cover, and came in a Kurt ink this, and we never really made a print of that, but we could make a print of that. It was just the back cover for Turbo Teaser 1. This is the front cover for Turbo Teaser 1, and this is my pencils, type pencils, and this is what got sent to Kurt, and it all got translated through copying and through his inking. and I think it came out great in both versions. So this is going to be the machine. This is kind of like the machine that I imagined when I sent the script to Alex Turbin with the Duke inside. So I'm going to use this to kind of hype up the story, like on pulp magazines where the actual, inside doesn't match the outside because they just had different people doing different concepts and they're just like, just publish it all. Who cares about continuity? Right? We're making art here. Touch it once. So here I'm gonna draw a little bit. Let's sketch in a little bit, and I'm just taking a high-tech C pen. So we're gonna go and start making some like clouds here, some like textured clouds, because these will be like black clouds. Oh no, is this blue? Is this blue or black? Okay, I guess it's black. So I'm just gonna texture in some clouds. There's some flames here. There are some pencils here, but they're not very, very finished pencils. So I'm just inking on the fly here. And hopefully next time I handle this, we could just publish it. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm selling. I'm not even near halfway through the pile. Actually, I should move on, maybe come back to this later, but I wanted to draw. I'll probably draw at the end if I get through all this stuff. Next, this is Sister Shockadelica, aka Shock, Shok. She's one of the leaders of the number cults, and the Tuesday cult is, of course, the biggest one. In the year 2202, breakthrough in quantum theory, entanglement by quantity, called Q relation, or the QR, the concept of my number or one's lucky number. So that it's like everyone has a personal number, a string of numbers, right? Everyone has a number string. And I should use the hashtag, the pound sign. That's a number, right? Before it became pound sign and a hashtag, it was number. What's the number? Number one. So it's really important that we look at this number symbol, even though it's become the pound sign on the phone and it's become the hashtag on the internet. So the same symbol is used for many things. And I wonder in ancient times what this symbol was used for. Like basic Chinese, or cuneiform marks. The crucial development of the 2-year-old brains, they worship this, right? The Tuesday cults. That's how they come to prominence, is because they understand how crucial it is when you have a kid to develop their brain when they're 2 years old. Like 1 years old is extremely important too, but cognitively it kind of shifts, it's from just being a body, like a little baby or an infant is just a body for the first year. And then in the twos, it's like they're trying to connect the mind to the body in a binary instead of being just a singular idea. And the Tuesday cults worship that, so they arrange everything to have the 2-year-old experience for the kid the most important thing. And so childcare becomes important, and everybody gets involved in a major way to just nourish. And once a society figures that out, they'll have a lot of advantages. They'll be like uh, more resilient, mentally healthy, and able to take on the fight that's going to be necessary when the Dehubertons just cash in on everything. So yeah, going around the circle here, Shock is a street artist turned futurist turned Q number scientist. She worked on Q number theory after the disbanding of Esoterra's hive mind children group. and that's like the Treehouse Kids. It's gonna put out another tune, and by the way, I have the rights to all my music. These are just demos I'm playing in the background. um, so this is all still undeveloped. These streaks in the hair are still a little too colorful, but I need something thicker than this. This isn't even showing up. So I'm gonna see if this marker has anything into it. You know, when these markers are running out, it's actually kind of good because you can use the dry brush technique. The problem is it doesn't last very long like that. So, and I'm just kind of crossing the streams here. This is when I demoed this tune that we do in my band. And we kind of dropped it from the set list. We should get back to it, but we need to record it really. This is just like the demo I showed to the band. Sharing it with you now. And as background music. Sometimes it's a little daring doing some inking over tight pencils, and you're like, should I just make this a pencils drawing? If you can see here, it's very light colored pencils, and then I started going over it with different markers, like all kinds of just crap that's laying around. Sometimes even highlighters and stuff that isn't even designed for, illustration, or maybe it is, but this might be a very, very phosphorescent pink. So maybe I'll just go a little bit heavier on the paint, as if there's like a neon light out the window. And just kind of squinting a little. When you're squinting, when you're drawing and you're squinting, you kind of don't know what you're doing. So you get to see the art for the first time when your hand is making it independently of your eyes and your brain. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this pink that I'm adding. I don't know if you could even see it, but it's giving it a shiny darkness. And I'm just I'm just thinking of this highlighter I'm using just as in terms of its gray value, even though it's a bright, shiny pink. And then you just kind of look at the artwork later with new eyes. And I try to fill up some of these white spots. So I tell my students all the time, it's like too much white space. Okay, just in terms of dark value. I'm gonna go over this one again. Anyway, this is I don't consider these like my really good artwork, but if these things are laying around and anybody wants to buy them, you literally make me an offer because I'm clearing out some of this art to finance the printing of Doom Magazine's #1 and Turbo Pit Fighter, and we're also gonna be making another record with the band. Let's see the next team. I think it's playing. All right. So this was thinking of Hellclaw's mask, different colors, and the light blue and the red. There's like the cat on her chest. You can't really see here, but this is just kind of like notes to self. trying to develop the color scheme for Hellclaw. And, nowadays, they just make, like, every color scheme, right? Just try the color scheme out in every color scheme and try the superhero out. Make them a man, a woman, a mutant, a zombie, like, every variation that we can do to make a number one comic. Not, like, number one selling, but number one number. This is our hit single, Naked Lush, available on our 2014 EP called Venom in a Soup. It's actually a really good record, but only kind of like an indie vinyl thing, 7-inch indie vinyl. And of course available on all digital platforms, but to me that's not the art form. I'm not a real hi-fi techno hi-fi guy. Like a good, speaker is okay with me. Like right now, just hanging out. Doesn't have to be like a stereo receiver with 2 big speakers, although I have that downstairs. And I just got some new speakers I gotta install for Christmas. Yeah, I like that better. I like that sweeping. This is better. So maybe I can do something with this. These eyeballs look a little stiff to me. There's something like a little two-dimensional, not really human yet, you know? Maybe some more eyelashes. Nothing surrounds the eye better than eyelashes. Obviously. Nature does a great job. And the nose here. And the lips. So on camera, you probably don't see it looking like much right now because what I'm doing is very subtle, but to the original art, it's nice. And maybe it won't even really, translate to print, exactly. That's why original art is so cool. It's original. And there's an original art con coming up, the OAX in Orlando. And I would have loved to have gone. I'd love to table one day at one of those things. But just going to table at regular cons in the meantime. And I'm going to show, I'm going to have to make a different video where I just show everything one by one. But you also kind of like give too much like eye activity at once, I think. I just kind of grab pencils and let the randomness of the color kind of work itself out once you start drawing. The way Frazetta threw in like the extra color that doesn't really belong there, but it made it like a beautiful flourish of your eye. Just to see all those little extra colors in there. I mean, imagine like Frank Frazetta in the digital age if there was, he was an oil painter and he did like magazine, paperback covers and magazine covers at the real height of things and movie posters. And I know he did comics in the early days, but he did a very unsatisfying amount of comics. I saw the Native American comic he made. That was probably like a nice black and white original style. But he was a ghost. He was like such a mercenary. He was a ghost for Al Cap, Lil Abner, and others too. I think I heard somebody saying he did Nancy and Sluggo because I was watching something about an artist that did ghosting on Nancy and Sluggo, and think they said Frazetta did that too. Maybe that's my old mind playing tricks on me. All right, let's move off this. But if you scrub this with a needle, it's cool. All right, here's Reen Paula. I designed her. This is the grandmother of Wee Lou in the 6-pager called Reen Paula's Farm. It's like a standoff at Reen Paula's Farm. And here you can see it's supposed to be in the future, and she's loaded up with a shotgun, and it's kind of like a garage, indoor garage, or like a long trailer. It's really like a long farm hangar, And she's got the video screens here, and the sliding gate here. Then they got all the guns and ammo laid out, and there's two. I guess these are robots here. They're humanoid, but they're robots, and they're meant to look like you can't tell the difference. But they're just farm workers, and they're arming. Let me make sure that we remember these are robots. It's a cold twist. And she's only got 2 for the standoff. Things go bad, real bad. I could ink this with this. This would be great. Let's see. Reed Paul's Farm. This is a 6-pager available. And the other one's The Company Man. It's already in production. Inks and pencils by Sebastian Aldunia. Can't wait till that's done. Yeah, so here's a pencil. I could darken up some of this stuff. Right? It really needs it to be like finished, like display worthy. But no time to do it now. Siege at Reed Paul's Farm. That's the full title, I guess. And I just want to make sure I remember these are robots. So they'll have like a scan code on them. Really large scan code. And yeah, well, why don't we just put an antenna up on both of these guys? So we just know they're bots. I did make him look human before, but now we can just like add whatever. This is the video screen, and this could be a video screen right here, like this, instead of a face. And this will just be like B netting or something. Yeah, I like that. This is a video screen. Waiting for her orders. Waiting for Rainbow's orders. Kind of reminds me of Peace. One of my favorite, coolest design characters ever is Peace from Wizards. It's like Ralph Bakshi, the animator, was working with Vaughn Bodie, or just like trying to cop all the Vaughn Bodie stuff. So somebody invented Peace and the Wizard and Eleanor and Weehawk. This is actually pretty good character development and character design. And it was all supposed to be inspired by Vaughn Bodie. Vaughn Bodie or Vaughn Bodie. I think Kurt likes to say Bodie. I'm not sure how to say it, honestly. Never knew how to say it, but one of my favorite artists. I have so many Cheech Wizards, and like I think I got like 5 different ones. I think Sunpot is one of them. but that was like also serialized. Bone Bodie. Anyway, Wizards was Vaughn Bodie's, I think. I don't know, just like homage, animated homage by Ralph Bakshi. I'm just gonna make like some radio waves, like a pulse here or whatever. Same thing here. These are just bots. And they're just like humanoid bots. This way, the equipment can be used for humans or bots if they fit in the same thing. But I could make this like a little more body. Maybe like have a little battery pack. Although in combat it would be terrible to have that be vulnerable. So maybe they should be more utilitarian and the battery pack could be inside. Alright, that's good enough for now. See, just drawing and adding stuff, you come up with these little ideas. So this is going to be Chromita, and I started inking this and kind of like coloring it in an interesting way. And I'm just going to revisit it a little bit here with this Kuretake, but I got to be careful because it almost blobbed up on me. And I feel like I really need to draw the eyes, but I want to make the eyes these little X's. And right, like sparkly. And this is cool. It kind of looks like a young Barbara Eden, if anybody knows that reference. I Dream of Jeannie. Barbara Eden had kind of like a perfect nose, and a lot of like plastic surgeons were asked to, women, if they can have Barbara Eden's nose. But I think they said Princess Grace was the number one because it's basically the same nose. I think, like, to my visual memory, but you know they it's just like I guess a Western ideal for like a compromise, like not a upturned nose and not a downturned nose or whatever, not too big, not too small. I wonder if Barbara Eden and Grace Kelly are related in some way. All right. Um, I should really move on. I want to do something else with the eyes since we have some color in here. Now, I have these colors, which I used on the last one, and they might come in handy if I wanted to just obscure this a little. Oh boy, it just got blurred like crazy. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm gonna add the other color too. Sometimes this is just subliminal, and I'm trying to put this in like little places where it's not replacing anything else. It's just adding to, especially like down here. Maybe we do need to like make some bold moves and like do stuff like this. There's also the seam here. So maybe I should actually make that the seam, but I missed it over here. So this could just be the reflection in the mirror, the mirrored chrome, you know? See these shapes here? It's like a Rorschach test. And Jack Kirby was the master of chrome effect, but not really realistic, more like stylized pop art, like a crazy a crazy comic creator that got paid, you know, hundreds of dollars every page he created, every page he turned out. So he was like, well, they give me free reign, and I'm basically like drawing and co-plotting the Fantastic Four and Captain America and Black Panther and everything, you know, all at once, just cranking out the pages with like a bare bones script. And, you know, how great it all came out. The worlds that he created, billion-dollar empire with Stan Lee. Sure. You know, I'm more of a Stan fan than a lot of people, but there's all these corners that comic nerds all get into, and maybe I don't know enough about it, but you know, they say the definitive movie needs to come out, Hollywood movie, and many people have flirted with the idea of a Stan and Jack movie, you know, but how should it be presented? Should it have animated action sequences? You know, from the Marvel world. I mean, they've already had Avengers Endgame with complete CGI. All right, I don't know if I'm adding too much to this. I'm just putting in these dark spots, and this is going to be a visual for when I come in later with another color like this that's a little lighter and just kind of like blending in more or less. Like everywhere you see it, just kind of like apologize for having made those marks by like blending in with a lighter version of itself. It's called monochromatic, but or unichromatic. It's like you're using the same color family, but lightening the load. And I notice we don't have any here on the Barbie Eden nose. And those eyes need some help. Yeah, I'm just gonna go around it, just putting a little blue here and there. Here it mixes with the black kind of nicely as long as you can control it. Now the blue is decidedly dark blue. So need to blend that back, bring that back. I'm trying to make this a little like abstracted, actually. I'm just not getting very far at once. I'm just kind of nibbling with this because, you know, I've made the commitment to color this. So there's going to be a color original and it'll be used for an illustration. Can't be used in Doom magazines internally unless we run color pages, you know, or we could just take a grayscale version of it, and then the original would be the only color version. But like a page like this has a lot of stuff on here. Shebot is the Chromita is the Shebot who built herself, and that's actually being shown in Casualties #1. The one that the first piece of art that I showed you, Chromita is one of the characters. Let's talk a little bit about her. Chromita, the Shebot Chromita. She's kind of like inspired by Machine Man and Jocasta and Platinum from DC Comics, Middleman. But here she is in color, and all of this kind of like gush of ideas that just all came in about her when I was making this sketch, and others like it. So yeah, let's read it a little bit. Turbo #3 prototype weapon needs a warm-up time. That's a note for Turbo #3. Here, she built herself. She's a 24/7 monitor of Hellclaw. because Hellclaw becomes a power station unto herself. She can draw power. When Hellclaw makes her claws, it yeah, let me write this in. She runs off Hellclaw's power. Hellclaw, she gathers the power. So power draw. And this way, Hellclaw doesn't get overpowered because her powers, once they unleashed it, they realize her power is exponential, right? So here's what we'll do. Let's get a Hellclaw page and we'll write these notes on the Hellclaw page. And we'll tie it over to Chromita. So Hellclaw power draw discovered scientific explanation quantum AI quantum AI found how to unlock the power, but needs containment. So this is just giving me a great outline for a Hellclaw episode or a Hellclaw adventure. And I should type that in right now to the Hellclaw tab on hellclaw.com/Hellclaw. But I'm just gonna send a note instead. Well, these are the notes I'm taking. I'm taking physical notes. But this is a very cool idea. And I'm gonna find another picture of Hellclaw to explain this more. So let's skip ahead a little bit. Here's a nice one of Hellclaw. Remember, red and light blue. So this is like a cover. Doom Magazines, August 2164. So this is like when they make her into a heroine, right? Hellclaw Adventures or Hellclaw the Fire Witch. I'm just gonna blue pencil that in. We're just gonna have the subtitle Fire Witch somewhere. This is kind of graffitied up, which I like. And I have some nice fire here, but we need to write Fire Witch. And this is coming dangerously close to the edge too. Don't really want to bleed off the edge when it's your title type. I mean, we'll purposely do it here with some of these letters. The letters can be on fire, actually. So here we'll just put in some flames. This is my band playing again, the Mongols. Speed Limit 55 was on our 2014 EP called Venom in a Suit. Available on YouTube for free. CD baby. Took all our stuff, put it online, and I never saw a dime. I think Steve is supposed to be handling all that. I think he gave it all away. He just walked into a corporate trap or something. And Steve was, of course, the drummer and keyboard player now. Used to be the drummer. And he did a lot of recording on this track. After we did the music, he put the keyboards and he finished it all up. Great keyboard part on that. And so I guess I'm going to put Firewitch here, but it's kind of low. I want to have Firewitch up here. So maybe in here. Oh, I get it. The letters can be Firewitch, right? This F-I-R goes into the E. She's got to have her tagline. And these labels like Firewitch are just kind of like what the public calls her, in her movie persona and her comic persona. They've done that idea before where there's a superhero and there's a comic of them at the same time, right? I mean, I guess the Avengers have all turned up in comics in the movies, right? Do they have... That would be a good question for AI. What references to comics are in superhero movies of their own comic? Get it? Is that a good prompt? So this is a ghastly fire apparition that she's fighting. And in the future, there'll be these big distractions because it's easy to make a hologram in the future, especially after the Reen Pause segment, because it shows that the public can make holograms when they make the big octopus in protest of the Dehubritons. A big projection in the sky, but it starts out as a hologram and then it ends up as a communal projection by like 5,000 people on the ground, all dancing in lockstep and concentrating using the Esoterra techniques, because they're all Esoterra devotees, all brought together for a demonstration in Philadelphia. And that's when antics ensue. So Wee Lou is in town for that, and then she loses her place, because her apartment, because they follow her and dox her. After that, she basically defends herself by slitting the jugulars of these old boys that are hired to abduct them. And another example of Jake's story comes true. I'm gonna have to tell this to Kurt. A note to Kurt is that the old boys are like ice. Too much like ice. And, there have always been like Nazi forces, SS and everything, that have acted crazy and just abducted people off the streets. Russia, wherever, you name it, the Middle East, black bag operations. But, we've never really had it happening to American citizens before. A government agency is grabbing them off the streets. And, there's a great argument to be made about deporting people without papers. It breaks my heart to see, because I teach those families every day for the last 18 years, and I can tell you they're incredibly productive members of society, and the kids great, and they grow up to do amazing things. Like, valedictorian, all the way to electrician, truck driver, working in a business store, whatever, having families and living, in New York City, all over New York City. And, in other countries, other states like Minnesota and, Portland and everywhere. New York had it. We had it the other day reported in the Bronx. And, it's sick. Honestly, it's just sick, and it's gotten out of control in Minnesota. So we're seeing all the action and the lawsuits and everything. But just to timestamp this is like a week after the Alex Pretty got murdered. All right, so we want to say that Hellclaw need containment, and that's why Chromita is to be 24/7 containment monitor. Containment monitor of Hellclaw. And it also flames here, just to keep it real. Chromita, the she-bot who built herself. And I wrote down a year here, which I'm reticent to do sometimes, but I'd rather be wrong and then correct it than hesitate and not explain when this is all happening in the timeline. Because when we make a date certain, that means you have to be very mindful of the technologies and inventions that are happening. Because you might try and say in another part of the story, oh, they invented this now, and no, they invented it back then. And it's nice to keep the continuity together, but you know what? It's not even humanly possible. Something like Marvel or DC Universe or even Star Trek now, those are all out of control. They can't keep track of the continuity of what happened. So they just say it happened a long time ago in a galaxy far away. So we don't have to say what year it is. Or maybe they do now in Star Wars lore. Have they ever put a number to the year, or have they avoided that all this time? So here, I was still working on the face, and she looks a little more like Jocasta here. Jocasta is like a long nose, and the the definitive Jocasta, I think, came out in Machine Man comics, drawn by Barry Windsor Smith. What I just did was I just raised up the nose a pinch, and I can lower the mouth a little bit and kind of flatten it out more, which is funny because she's a robot. So, why are we making her so human and realistic looking? And the reason is because it's all about attraction. You want people to be attracted to your characters so they feel something for them, sympathy or cool. That's an attractive, uh, person of the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever. But, an idealized body portrait is what sells comics, male and female. The males are all muscly and, people admire that just like wrestling, you know, and just like the Olympics, bodybuilding and people at their physical peak. It's always been worshipped in human history. I was just at a field trip today with 21 students from my school, 6th and 7th grade, 6, 7. And we went and drew from observation in the museum. And the kids interacted with people. and they got to meet people. And so then some of my sixth graders started getting a little too outgoing with people, like in the city, in the museum in Manhattan. So we had to put that in check, but it wasn't before a person complained, actually, because I had a student that was going up to women and saying, "You're beautiful," even though the girl's only like, 11, just, not minding her business, and it got under somebody's nerves. So, how do you know when the students go too far? When the teacher's about to pop a vessel, especially like on a field trip. I told all the kids, and it's mostly girls, but I told them like, you have to be you have to be on your best behavior, because if you want to go on the next field trip, we're you know we're looking for people that can conduct themselves. Otherwise, stay back at school and you know figure out how to coexist better with people. The bus drivers got to hear what they're doing, and when we get to the museum, you're interacting with the general public, and museum workers and security guards and everything. And the last thing anybody wants to see is some, out of control kids, and that includes kids that are just having fun, but they don't know any boundaries. And when you're in Manhattan, you got to watch your p's and q's, because your local cops might not be giving people a break, or security people or whatever. Actually, the museum was kind of a pain today, because I love going to the Met Museum, and I would go like any time given the chance to draw or go on a field trip or whatever. It's my second field trip there this year. Um, they didn't have their damn water fountains working, and it seemed like it was a scam to like buy their water or something. But then you couldn't even buy their water, so it was just inefficiency today. And I almost complained. I might give feedback, because we had kids that were really thirsty and they complain a lot. And so then, bad behavior, like, is it their fault, or are they not having their rights met, where they have to have access to water? And the one girl, she brought her water container. She just needed to fill it up. And we went to literally like 3 water fountains that did not work before we found one. Had to go all the way downstairs, and then, by the time we took care of bathroom for everybody and water for everybody, it's time to leave. So so it's kind of sad, but, it's better than nothing, better than not going. So, yeah, my counselor and myself took a nice field trip today, and we're trying to find the talented artists who can draw in a museum and make themselves a nice art portfolio, get accepted to a good high school. That's my mission in life. It's my job. And usually we get about 10 to 15 kids out of my school of like 300 something, or maybe only like 280 now. I don't know how many students we have anymore. But, to get them into decent high schools. So sometimes you gotta be strict, but it's also being reasonable. Come on, can't be making noise and pissing people off in the goddamn museum. And it feels so good to curse, even though we're not really cursing, but teachers, we curse like banshees once the kids leave, and the kids are cursing all the time right in front of each other and teachers. So they need to stop that too. We, we talk freely on our free time, but when we're in a school, we all have a pact that we're not gonna talk like sailors because, you know, it's got to be professional decorum. You have to train kids how you're going to have to be in a workplace, or God forbid, you know, in a courtroom or something important where you don't want to just be dropping F-bombs and just, you know, make people think you're a dirtbag. At least hide it like the teacher. All right. So spending a lot of time on this, I think it's starting to pay off. But I got to move on because we got so much in this pile. And again, if you're watching this, just use the scrubbing tool to, you know, go to the next sequence where you can see. But all of these artworks, I'm uh, I'm not attached to them. I have scans of them, and I'm willing to sell the originals, including publishing rights, and that goes for strips or sketches or posters, covers, etc. All right, moving on. Charvel is a character um, that she's going to be part of the Rectifiers, and that's like a 5-woman team of like enhanced females that all got enhanced by young Elevena when Elevena was between the ages of like 13 to 15, and Charvel was like 18. So it's just like kicking off the story, and they'll have later adventures when they're in their 20s and in their 30s, and just trying to set up the timeline that it's like a young girl genius. I'm trying to decide if I should draw this collar in here. It's basically already in here. I'm just gonna make it real. And so the rectifiers, if I can remember all the names, are Charvel is the first one, and then we have Pitch Blend, Quadra, and Chevron. There's 5. So Charvel and the cleaver, the Q cleaver. So this is a mystery weapon recovered from the site of the Q Druid massacre. It responds to Charvel's QDNA signature. More unknown than known. The first use of it triggered radio resistance entanglement phenomenon. She's an early example of a veiner, and these are people that the veins start to come out in humans in order to deal with the radioactivity. And they start to evolve, but much quicker than the million and billion year pace that humans have always evolved on with craniums and stuff. Veins develop unless you're a glower. These eyes seem uneven to me, so I'm going to take this mark here and do a little bit here, but a lot of it here, just to try to pull this one down and even them out. All right, so Charvel and the Cleaver. She was the first enhanced by young Elevena in human trials. Rare and unique QDNA markers. She's the oldest of 7, born in Niles, Michigan, USA. She grew to 6'6" at age 16, 6'8" by age 18. So Charvel, when she's young and she's this like 17-year-old, 18-year-old, she appears in Doom Magazine's #1, a 6-pager, where she's rescued by the Casualties, and it's the first appearance of the Casualties before Casualties #1 is going to be in Doom Magazine's #1. So Charvel is a character that plays a small part. Her mother will die in the first 6-pager, and guess who did the 6-pager? That's right, Ken Langrath, the legend of indie comics. He did the pencils and inks based on my script, and it's Charvel. She's got volcanic eyes, and the volcano eyes, they unmask the benevolence gene. And so people cannot hide the fact that they're benevolent. And so they might be lying to pretend like they're not benevolent people. Okay, here's Dr. Alexandra Leowak. I was starting to sketch her in a little bit here. Just had a hint of an idea. So I'm looking for a mechanical pencil, but not a light blue one. And here, let's see if we can just get like a little profile of her. And boy, John Byrne had the simplest noses, right? He would just make a little V nose, right? And that like revolutionized noses in Marvel Comics. I remember Captain America always had this little V nose. And here is Dr. Alexandra wearing some big ass television goggles. And there'll be like a little strap here. She's got an early prototype. And this is the Elevision goggles, of course, as we all know, allow it creates a augmented reality universe where you can see quantum interchanges, both real and potential. And it's color coded so that different colors mean different things, such as, temperature, like in real life, in thermal scanners that we already have in real life. But quantum interactions will all have their own unique graphic signature, like entangled. Um, you can see entangled particles because they're like blown up, and there's a way to like monitor their interactions from afar in these goggles because this is filtering reality, and it's like kind of like low electrical power uh, that's turning that into visions of positive and negative particles. And when I mean positive and negative, I mean to your life. Not like positively charged, although that's a big part of it, but we're getting smaller than that. We're getting smaller than atoms. All right. She unmasked the physiological phenomena. She reaped the data. It was evolutionary. She wore goggles using television. It was evolutionary. The principle of dispersion, repeatable quantum science. Q particle research fellow by Martin Festwick Jr., sworn to secrecy in corporate hush contract, but released the rights publicly, but withheld data use from anyone but Esoterra. Okay, so this is a quantum scientist. Scientist. Thus, the need to enhance the intelligence through intent-specific disbursement theory. Okay. Intent-driven. How do you use the intent to advance evolutionarily in order to make it happen in real life? Well, it's possible in the future AI will do a lot of the heavy lifting for stuff like this. So you can just say, make me enhance, and why wouldn't the AI, say, all right, would you want the Smithers method or the whatever? So the Festwick Jr. method will be used. And that's how Elavina builds off his work. The Festwick technique. We'll call it the Festwick Jr. technique because his father had a competing technique. How about that? Intent driven. Or maybe we could say intended or intentional. I'll make up the word intended. I wonder if that's a word right now in real life. Not intended, intented. You make something intended. Uh-oh. Smash. Oh. My daughter's got me this tripod for Christmas. Has anybody ever rhymed Christmas with isthmus? All right. Intended. Should I put that in quotes? Q particle programming. And that unlocked human enhancement. Evolutionary. And what is she looking at on these monitors? She's looking at a blow up of the quantum particles. So what is that supposed to look like? And like the protein structures, right? What I'm drawing right here is like atomic. So she's looking at like multiple views. She's looking at the atoms here in a graphic user representation. She's editing them. And then when she does it, the machine does the rest. It produces all the chemicals and the electromagnetic, radioactive, gravitational, thermal wave bombardment is all done by her AI that she created. Her system of AI. So this is maybe where the prompts are here. So this is the prompter here. And she'll have a lot of tabs open. And she's looking at waves, basically. She's trying to sync the waves. You're looking at all the waves. So, she programs her AI. So, Elavina programs her AI to use multi-bombardment to change molecular bonds, bonding patterns, based on generated code, generated by agent cells. They're not cells, they're Q dots. Agentic Q dots that use entanglement the entanglement prototype. This is supposed to be Charvel, but this might end up being the second one, Shadow, because her hair doesn't match. Oh, and it's hard to see, but she's got a crow on her cheek. So if this is Shadow, let's write that in. And we'll draw a crow for the O. And then we'll add a silent E. And this is the crow is symbolic to me. Shadow. All right, enough about that one. That's good. You're making progress on all these. Here's Hawkwind, and I was thinking about making the letters really tall and thin because she is, but I don't like the way the letters are sitting there. And Hawkwind is she's gonna have, definitely want to keep this. She's gonna have this like aerodynamic wind cutter on her lead like wrist thing, and then her real hand's back here. She's got long fingers and long legs, and she's 7'11" at age 17. She's bred to be tall. She's got this bowl cut, but Hawkwind goes crazy and goes down with the ship. Takes her sibling, her half sisters, test tube sisters, with her, and I don't know if her bangs need to be so bowly, but she's really just a kid, so she's not too into styling. I have a blue pencil and I'm going to use it. So let's move the letters up so it's more readable, like this. And maybe the letters are a little bit wispy. Something's ring-a-dinging. Run by them. I don't know if it's gonna fit actually, because there we go. I just found I was making my wife's birthday CD. It's not a CD anymore, but I always made her like a song compilation for her birthday every year. And I'm a little bit behind on this one, but I have a lot of great songs, which I can't play on this live stream because it would be copyright problem. But big time boy is a really good Northern soul track. I kind of sticks in your head. All right. Like this letters can like really wrap around, like psychedelic letters, which I also teach eighth graders. I call it 60s style letters, but we all learn how to make melting, dripping letters like the Art Nouveau and like the posters of the 60s, Stanley Mouse, and some of those other guys, famous guys. And it's good because it's a style of letters that fits anywhere. And I show them pictures of like Jimi Hendrix and Santana, but I don't tell them anything about acid. Like these guys were all taking lots of acid and smoking grass. We don't have to mention that part nowadays. Just the great art style that was created. So yeah, this is Hawkman. This is enough for now. Gave me a direction. So here's Esoterra's first sketch. and I should keep them. Not Esoterra. This is Charvel's first sketch, and I should keep them together. Like, this is her second sketch. It's more of like a bust. Charvel and the Quantum Cleaver. This is Esoterra's cleaver, because Esoterra gives it to Charvel. Charvel is really good at controlling it. The theory works. It's opening a pocket in the nanoverse. None can fathom the possibility. And here's Esoterra. So we can tighten up these pencils now. And Esoterra always has flowing letters, talking about 60s style. And sometimes loosely connected letters, right? Like, I connect some of the stuff, but not all of it. Right? Esoterra. Use the space. Use all the available space. I never finished this, but look, this one is the names of all the characters. Charvel, Shadow, Pitch Blend. And then I had Quadra, but we changed it to Claudra with a K, but that sounds too much like Santa Claus. So maybe let's make it Claudra with a Q, L. Claudra. I like that better. I just changed it again. This is a purple ballpoint, and I'm drawing in the sketches. So it's going to be a real big question what we do with these original drawings, as far as like publishing, because like some of these words and everything, it's like incomprehensibly like insane rants that people cannot understand or follow. But we could use that, by design to say like there's all this stuff here and it only means anything to the author, the crazed author, laughing at his own jokes. But I'm inclined to do that because these pages are kind of like building and building in an interesting way. So maybe they're like kind of like journal pages or scrapbook pages. Another possibility is just clear out all this handwriting and just type in parts of the story. And, that we have the lead up to Charvel, um, uh, being rescued by the Casualties. And then later in life, she's given the Quantum Cleaver. So we can just describe this, like what happened this episode. So this will have to be an episode right here of the Casualties where Charvel is given the Quantum Cleaver. So I'm going to erase this Charvel here right now. Just making decisions. And I'm going to make it bigger. So like this whole page is about her. Because this talks about Esoterra's cleaver. But it's like, who's that? Is that the cleaver? No, that's Charvel. So I'm going to make some Charvel letters here. And I'm just driving blind with this pencil here, making a lettering style. You gotta pride yourself on your lettering styles. But you also gotta fit it, otherwise you look like a horse's ass. And now, how does it come together? How do I spell it? Does she have an E at the end? Yeah, she does. Charvel is selected. Charvel, the first to be enhanced. What's her name? Is her name? Is she the cleaver? Is Charvel the cleaver? Charvel Vor. Her last name is Vor. So Charvel is tall, and this character doesn't look very tall. Not as tall as Hawkwind, obviously, but Charvel is 6'7". No, yeah, 6'8". I guess we can make it 6'7" because everybody's talking about that height, right? 6'7". There we go. So, is she a giantess? Can you be like on your way to being a giantess? We don't want to call her an Amazon because Jeff Bezos has sullied the word. Not gonna lie. Um, do we call her like tall something? Do we use the word tall? Charvel, the tall hero, warrior or something. Or her last name was Charvel Vor. Does that make any sense to you? I don't know. Well, she needs a tagline. I'm gonna write really light in here. Tagline? Question mark? That's what she needs. But Charvel, Shadow is second. Pitchblende is third. Claudra and Chevron. Does Chevron need a silent E at the end? Or just two N's? We can't have just one N because that's the oil company. But we need to steal Chevron back from the oil companies. All right, we spoke about her. We'll keep those together. I'm also going to clip the top off of here. It's about time we straighten these up a little bit, right? I might erase where it says none can fathom the possibility. We'll say that another way. We're just getting started on this pile. It's going slow as molasses. Instead of none can fathom the possibility, how about we make this an Esoterra solo story? But will this be in Doom Magazine? Yeah, we'll just write Doom Magazine Presents. So when I add this little cover design, just makes it official. I mean, this is a bad place for it because Esoterra's hand is there. But where else are you going to put it? And then we can just take some ad copy here and here. And then we'll list them here. And we can just notify everybody these are Doom Magazine properties, characters, right? Doom Magazines, right there. Should we? Just can't help it. I got some blue in here. So I did apply for a table at the Fanfare Comic Con, which is going to be in April, I think. We'll see if I get a table. It's in a school, so it's in the High School of Art and Design. So they asked for like nothing mature, whatever that means. And so, you definitely want to steer clear of anything adult. And it should be okay. Mostly just sci-fi here. Chromita pencils here. Nice type pencils, kind of stylized. Chrome letters. Nothing here and here. So maybe that's something that needs to be added in. Because I usually don't like to leave things just dead blank. So what I could do is have some. Yeah, this would be a good place to introduce her her kind of function, and we can divide this up into like scoops and radio waves and like magnetic waves and stuff. But I want to talk about she is the monitor or the containment monitor. So it's her job to use all of the extra, convert the energy to processing power for Hellclaw. So mission containment monitor for Hellclaw. Monitor or chaperone for Hellclaw. And then we'll show Hellclaw. No, I wanna stay with these waves here. So we'll just say Hellclaw. Or maybe the W is a claw. Anyway. So we'll say Shebot right here. It's gotta fit. And here we just have lightning bolts. And here, yeah, I'll try to have like a lightning bolt design. Like that. And then here and get these wave designs. So what are we gonna say here and possibly here? So the she's an AI super bot that built herself, but mission containment monitor for Hellclaw. Her primary mission. Prime. I'll put some different waves up here instead. This is easy to do in Photoshop. You just get like a big circle, whoop, and then tilt it. Prime mission containment monitor for Hellclaw. I don't know if that word monitor containment. Companion. Maybe we should just keep it containment monitor. Does that make sense? And then here, we need to say the what that built herself, the robot, the bot, she-bot that built herself. We can say that she is mysteriously sourced somehow. Mysteriously built herself. What's a shorter way of saying mysteriously? Unknown. I need to say mysteriously. Maybe say it down here. Yeah, so she's companion. She's companion for well, she's the personal assistant of she's a property of Esoterra, right? Should we say property or a gift to Esoterra? Oh, Esoterra, that's right. Gift to Esoterra by the unseen hand. from the unseen hand. And then more waves. Here, mysteriously built herself. Well, is it so mysterious now that the unseen hand give it? She built herself. I want to say built herself. Can I say it's small down here? It's just 2 words. Fits. Okay, and then here, we want to design this with some nice, kind of like graffiti style lines. We got some room. I could say built herself here, but she contains quantum computing network, a quantum computer brain, which she also homing signals for glowers. Her Q core computer. What are we going to call the computers in the future? They're just going to be built-in brains. Her quantum brain. I like what I did here, but I gotta make it thinner. Up a little bit. Her quantum brain, her quantum processor, her quantum core, or QCPU. It's a bank of quantum computers. QCPU, tracking glower signals, or traces, glower signals, signatures, signature. Just fits. All right. Good. I'm going to leave that one as is. Come back to that or just make it a whole cover. Now I don't have, and then here we can just write Doom Mags. We can just draw the Doom Mags thing in here. And we just cut and paste the bug, but it shows where it goes. All right, are we getting somewhere now? I gotta cut this off, Hawkwind. These are good pads. These are 12 by 18 drawing pads. I have them all over. I also have Strathmore drawing pads, but I recommend these because they're cheap. Paper's good. It's kind of thin, but good quality for drawing. Pencil, marker. See, like this got bent somehow, and this is gonna be a picture of Hellclaw, so I might as well like add this to the pile. But I didn't have her mask right, So this is good. Now I can bring her mask out and see. Looks like this. And if she's turning, yeah, so it goes like that, and it kind of like turns out, but then there's these other pieces. And it could go a lot of different ways. So it kind of turns out like that, and then these extra pieces here. So you got the blue and the red, and it's like a separate cowl from the other one. And it could go this way. And then I like a dark mascara. That could be like a darker red. How about dark red on the bottom and dark blue on the top? That's kind of like subtle. Then it comes in like this, and this comes out like that. This comes out and down like that. And her mask is kind of like, who has a mask like that? Not the Scarlet Witch. And Captain America has a mask like this. I'm just trying to think of a female that has a mask like that. Like, Hellcat or the Red Guardian in the comics has a mask like that. And drawing in her mouth. Good. I like how that came out. Maybe her face is a little too small. And stretch things out a little bit. So that's why we use blue pencil, because no one to come in, do the exact same thing with black pencil, but higher up. Smooth everything up. Now it looks awful, so we gotta move her eyes up too. But I didn't like the overall proportion. The eyes go all the way up here. And the mask, we'll draw the boundaries of the mask. That, and like that. This mask, the inner part of the mask reminds you of like Wildcat. That was a character in DC, like I think All Star or something. The Justice Society or something. So let's look again. There's like an inside and an outside. Do I need to lower? Now I need to lower this nose back down a little. So I just stretched it all out, but the proportion's better. But now we want an attractive nose. Maybe we don't see the nostrils at this angle. Usually we do. And then she's got this mask. Or we could just have it like that and then not a bottom part. Oh, but it looks like this on the side. So it goes like that, but you can't, it's kind of flat on one side, more visible on the other side. Then these join together, and this is like all the way back here. And maybe not such a square jaw, or else we'll just like shade it underneath on both sides. And then her head is here and her flowing hair. So maybe we can have something going where her hair is flowing in the wind always. And which way is the wind going? Like that. And there could be some airspace in here. And this kind of reminds me of like Batgirl, the way her hair sneaks out of her cowl, right? but you want to be original. So how do we make it different? Maybe her hair is a little bit looser. All right. We got swear on this. But anyway, I was just trying to show yous all this pad. It's only 10 o'clock. This is Jack Richardson's drawing pad. Purple pad, 12 by 18, 75-pound paper. It's not too thin. I have a lot on this pad right here. There's a character. Who's she? That might be Charvel. This is Esoterra. This needs to be penciled. I mean, yeah, penciled. Here's Esoterra. He's kind of like being portrayed as a commercial goddess, as a goddess on commercials. Here's Hawkwind, another info page, and the Hellclaw we were just working on. So I want to keep that one in this pad for now. And let's press on. So this is a story page. This is the Company Man 6-pager. It's breakdowns, pencil breakdowns, all of the dialogue and all the action. So if somebody's going to be doing this, I could just give them this. It's like thumbnails, but it's a little bigger. Here's a face. Who's this? So she could be any character in the story. She could be any one of those rectifiers that we mentioned. It could be Charvel, Shadow, Pitch Blend, Claudra, or Chevron, or somebody else. We have the Casualties, Hellclaw, Esoterra, Chromita. Could she be Chromita? Would you draw the robot parts on her? No, because her eyes are too human. Her hair is too human. Chromita has like a what do you call it? Like a nurse's cap, or maybe like a tiara. So for now, this is just a face. But I have a good project where we can use all of these faces and more. All these sketches are coming soon to original art table. This is baby Esoterra when she's first discovered by her adoptive mother, Madeline Terra. And her name is, her born name is Esther Mulligan. You can see she's like in a dingy, broken down, like slum where she's recovered from her mother. Esoterra right here. This is a slightly different costume, slightly different presentation, but I started inking it, and there's no reason I can't continue inking it. Should I ink it a little right now? Is it time to commit? Let's keep moving. It's 10 o'clock. Here's 2 Esoterras. So we have this one and this one. Let's cut all the stuff off. Here she is. So this is like a cover, and like there's a hologram here of a demon, and there's like this big gear here. So that's got to be symbolism, like a metaphor or something. And cutting this off too. Here, there's claws above and below. They're like closing in on her. I'm gonna redo the eyes, maybe right now, because I hate those eyes. And Esoterra doesn't look like Esoterra. Really. The shape of the eyes is wrong. Maybe the eyes need to be blank. because she's in a trance. But they also look like too round for Esoterra. So is she concerned about the hologram? Or is she ignoring it? Here her eyes are too far apart, like the Road Warrior girl. Like, what's her name? Fury Road. One eye's better, and the other eye's too bad. Furiosa, sorry. I forgot for a minute. The actress from Furiosa. Are they making a sequel? So the idea is that her eye tattoos are really dark, and it takes away the glare permanently, but also intersects her eyes. And it becomes like a Native American war paint design. So that's what she's trying to design after. Haven't started inking this, but I just threw this colorful thing on here. That could be improved. Maybe if we throw some 3D on it, or at least a suggestion of 3D, like that. All right, here I have 2 sketches for Silverina and Silverella, and I wanna have both of them. So let's start with some blue line pencil, and we'll write Silverella. I couldn't make up my mind which is which, so how about we do both? This barely fits here. So now I'll use the other pencil and move these things over and around. So it's like this, and this fits, and this fits, and this fits. And this is all moved over. So it all fits. And then this can go off the edge like that. All right. Now fill everything in. Make everything butt up against each other. This E might even move in a little bit. Give the R some more room. Do we need it? Yeah, over here we do. Let's say we'll do it on the bottom. Or this can run into there and just overlap. This is an E that fits in this little space. Like that. This is a V. An L. An I. And an S. And should we make these chrome letters while we're at it? We could make these chrome letters. I'll start out with the blue line pencil. And the previous lines that are in there, some of them are actually usable, some of them not. Some you can't even see anymore. And they don't hold a lot of room for this E, but that's okay. They don't have to be so uniform. And now we're just going with some dark. We're just trying to make these little scoops. If there's enough room. If not, so be it. Just going in real quick. Obviously, we're going to work on this later, but you just look at it with an eye and you bring it in a certain direction, at least some part of it. And, it's great if your eye just catches things, something new every time. Just keep adding to it. We have like the outfit here, and this has to be like a uniform, a bikini like kind of get up. But she doesn't have to have that. She can be wearing some other kind of thing. Or we can make it the same. Maybe she likes strapless and she doesn't. Or maybe maybe she has straps here that we can see, but they're just like thin lines. Is she strapless to cover up her furry tiger gray cat body? And do we like her nose here? I like it, but I think we need to raise it up higher. So it's basically just a dark nose, like Peter Criss. And that makes her anthropomorphic. Everything else is pretty human except for the claws and the stripes and the fact that she has fur. She'll be covered with beautiful fine fur. All of these characters. And maybe she'll have like a peak here. Comes down a little. Yeah, I like that. I made her a little more muscular. So Silverella maybe is a little more muscular than Silverina, but they're both physically fit. And they're going to have these tiger gray stripes. Reason why? Because tiger gray is my favorite kind of cat. Unless maybe I get a Cornish Rex, but I'd like to find one with tiger gray stripes. And if it sounds like Fritz the cat, then yeah, guilty as charged. I always like the design of Fritz the cat and real life cats like that. And I found out the breed. It's called Tiger Gray. All right, that's enough of that. Oh, we're at the end. Can you believe it? We finally got through all of it. Unbelievable. I think this thing is having a tough time closing now. Yeah, it closes, but kind of janky. Kind of janky. It's good to just protect us. So put this all back. There's so much here. And I think the ones that are really like good display worthy or sales worthy right now are the Casualties cover, which I scanned, and the poster for the Von Ghouls show, which was already colorized and turned into prints. And just to end this off how we started, I'll show those again. Anything here, and you see you like it, make me an offer. I can finish the unfinished ones too. Yeah, so here's it. This is going to be a color cover for Casualties #1. This is the original art. And I need to transcribe all of the rantings on here, but I can at least cut this down a little. And I'm not losing any information. There's a lot of note to self here. The Mystic Tattoo, ink embedded with microcrystal QDNA strand towers, embedded eons of code from previous hyperware entities. Quantum phenomena, life forms using natural physics to encode instructions, histories, formulas. Evolutionary need dictates problems solved by equations in living code. Dr. Alexander Leowak injects hypermicro super Q particles into tattoo ink with a lifetime supply of Q nutrients for the ultra qubits. Esoterra's body and face tattooed dark to draw the glare from the outer half of eyes and visual Q particle interaction, drawing nutrients to optic nerves. There you go. Like I was saying. So I'm just keeping that attached for now. Young Esoterra built a micromotor tattoo gun using asymptotic precision to sharpen a needle. So he goes in the finest, like cleft cut, signal entrainment, suggestion or voluntary. Freed from greed. I love that. Thoughts, dreams, deja vu, coincidences, contact from the brood, self, past, future, enter alpha meditation, wave vibration, attunement. So these are the ways. How do you communicate? How communicate with future past, relatives through QDNA, colon. That's how. Thoughts, dreams, coincidences, deja vu, contact from the brood, the self. Yeah, the self, unconscious. Past, future, enter alpha meditation, wave vibration attunement. And that's what we were talking about with those screens that that Elevena was looking at. A lot here. It's pencil stuff. I'm gonna chop this off. Anytime I see this, it means it comes from a pad, and it could just be this Jack Richardson pad, which is like decent medium level paper, 75-pound paper, but it can be creased, like, and in a way Bristol board cannot, really thick Bristol board cannot. All right, here's the print, and here's the original. Oops, where's the original? I spoke too soon. We spoke about reinforced farm. We spoke about Shockadelica, Sister Shockadelica, aka Shock. And I have this original art here, but I can't seem to find the original art for this. Where did that all get to? If nothing else I got accomplished, I cut all these ugly holes off these sheets of paper. Goodbye. It just makes it a lot more ready for something. I'm looking offline here. So this, I like how this Hellclaw cover is coming out. And it says Doom Magazines here, August 2164. So this is supposed to be a cover of Hellclaw superhero comic in the future. And here's the original. Basically, this is the number one thing I have for sale right now. That's not in my main portfolio. I'm putting this into my main portfolio of all the concert posters and prints, including this one and this one. And if anybody comes around my table and they like the art, but they can't afford a poster or something like that, I have a couple of these to give away. These are just really nice cardstock color prints off my printer. And sometimes I give these away for nothing or with purchase, whatever. Just try to be nice and give people stuff. If I don't need that many copies anymore, all right, this is all going away. So a print of this poster will come with the original art too. Happy to entertain offers. Trying to fund the art fund for the printing of Doom Magazine's #1. And it's actually not that much money, only a couple $100 to print copies of Doom Magazine's #1. We can start with a little of as like $180 or something and get 50 copies. That's what we did with the Turbo teasers, but I think we're gonna print quite a few more. Here's the sign. Instead of obey, question. This is some like futuristic weapons I designed a long time ago. Here's a Sci-Fi Vixen that's unfinished. And this pad has a page started with Elevena, and this was going to be a Casualties logo. But that's definitely Elevena's face. So Elevena is the generation after the Casualties. So this must have been just a scrap paper. And I'm glad we got that out of the air. But this is good paper here. This pad is Strathmore. I got to get some more of this. 12 by 18 Strathmore. This is great. Great paper here. I don't think I can find this anymore. 80 pounds. Nice stuff. All right, let's put all this back. And let's end this. I'm going to go make popcorn. Treat myself nice. See if there's a ball game. Go through a couple of these before we go. I showed these on a little live stream recently. Some of these are better than others. This cover looks like the Al Rooney artist. I think it's different insides. This is a very weird one. Comic about a guy's self. Here's a cosplay cover. It's cool. AC Comics. PC Comics. A weird one, Blackmore Publishing. Yeah, just working through this box. Anyway, that's it, everybody. See you soon out there. Hopefully, book a table soon. Get out there and see y'all in the comic world. Later, Gators. Bye.